All right. Welcome back, everybody, to YouTube's favorite cryptocurrency show, Altcoin Daily. Yes, Mr. YouTube himself just emailed the channel and said for just one Bitcoin, he's going to send us a plaque with this title. So I sent him the Bitcoin. Don't worry, it's not a scam. I'm going to get it back as soon as I get the plaque. Anyways, let's get to it. Our top story of the day. BitMEX's CEO suggests that Bitcoin will see a green wave in 2019 and surge to $10,000. Now, before you start going crazy in the comments with your negativity, let me just preface this by saying he's not talking about Q1, which we're almost done with. He's not talking about Q2, not even talking about Q3. No, the BitMEX CEO, his name is Arthur Hayes, he's talking about all the way at the end of the year in Q4. Now, don't you think it's possible that Bitcoin could be at $10,000 by the end of the year? Yeah, I think that's very much possible. So let's hear him out. Let's give him a chance. The real question is, does his thoughts hold water at all, or is this just our monthly dose of crypto crack to keep us all hooked? Let's figure it out. The co-founder and CEO of the cryptocurrency trading platform BitMEX, Arthur Hayes, has recently made some waves with a fresh Bitcoin price prediction. Specifically, Hayes argues that Bitcoin will rebound to a $10,000 price point during this year. This news came in a note by Hayes from BitMEX Research Desk, released on March 22nd, and in it, Hayes argued that the cryptocurrency market will likely see a drastic market recovery in the fourth quarter of this year. He says, the 2019 chop will be intense, but the markets will claw its way back to $10,000. See, that's a very significant psychological barrier. $20,000 is the ultimate recovery. However, it took 11 months from $1,000 to $10,000, but less than 1 month from $10,000 to $20,000 back to $10,000 again. Never thought of it like that. That's right. Furthermore, the report by Hayes notes that the repair of crypto investors' balance sheets is likely not done yet. Rather, it's going to take some time for the losses to be digested by the market. Time heals all wounds, right? Although it seeds that 2019 could mainly be boring due to digesting the losses experienced during the past year, it guides that early Q4 of 2019 will see a green wave sweep the cryptocurrency markets. As such, it's entirely likely that a cryptocurrency frenzy might once again pick up at the end of the year if Arthur Hayes' note is to be believed. Nevertheless, this type of prediction should, just like always, be taken with a healthy heap of salt. For sure. So, is it possible to see Bitcoin at $10,000 at the end of the year? Yes, very much possible. He really presented no sort of proof or rationale other than enough time will pass, I guess, is what he's saying. Also, let's not forget that something like this would help his business. I mean, hell, it would help all of us, right? So, BitMEX has actually been in the game for a number of years, and I don't know about you, but I remember when this same CEO made his prediction at the beginning of 2017, and again in the bear market of 2018. So I have my notes right here so I could accurately represent this. So I remember in early 2017 when Bitcoin's price was hovering around $1,000, he predicted that the top of 2017, the year would end with Bitcoin being at around $6,000. Now, we obviously know that Bitcoin went on to reach $20,000, so he underestimated that one. Then in 2018, when the price started correcting, he went on record saying that Bitcoin would have a $5,000 bottom in 2018. And I remember that everybody was calling him crazy, and it turns out that he was more correct than a lot of people. He was more accurate than some, calling $5,000. Obviously, we're below that now. So, I mean, if he's calling $10,000, he's underestimated, 2 years straight. Maybe we'll be finishing this year at $30,000. Who knows? I mean, for me, it's hard to give an exact date, right? The market is so volatile, anything could happen. It's hard to give an exact date. Do I think we'll see $10,000 eventually? Oh, hell yeah. I did really like what he had to say about market digestion. And really all he's saying is enough time needs to pass where just the sentiment changes. And I was thinking actually that one thing that could happen, one thing that we can actually take a look at to see the sentiment changing, because right now, I don't know if you've noticed, Tether is number 9 on CoinMarketCap.com. It has the 9th largest market cap at $2 billion. So that's a pretty high market cap. So I was thinking, there's a lot of money in Tether right now. This is old money. This is people who know about Tether. They've been in the game a while. If we can see the money being released from Tether and it having a lesser market cap, we would know that that money is probably going back into Bitcoin, and that these whales or these people holding their money in Tether are satisfied enough to reinvest back in Bitcoin, that they think that we're pretty close to bottom. So I was checking this out, and actually what's interesting to me is back when Bitcoin quote unquote capitulated at the end of last year from $6,000 to $3,000, we actually did see this happen. You can see right here that the market cap went from 2.8 billion and dipped all the way down to 1.6 billion. So we actually did see tons of money leave Tether at this time. Now, since then, we have gained a little bit, but there's still a lot of money in Tether. So I'm looking for the market cap of Tether to go down, and that's something we can all watch together. As soon as I notice that, you will be the first person I tell, my friend. Let's get to it. The next thing I wanted to talk about, well, what I want to talk about is the future of Bitcoin, as in, we know that Bitcoin is a technology and people develop for Bitcoin and it gets updated, but do we really know what is on the horizon? I want to go over that with you. But before we do that, have you noticed all these altcoins that are pumping? I mean, Max Coin up 17%, Raven Coin up 16%, Aurora, Cardano, Hypercash. Now, the only one I really know is why Cardano is pumping, and the only one I really know is Cardano. Now, I know we do have some possibly Aurora and Raven Coin fans in our audience, so if you know why Raven Coin is pumping, let us know in the comments. But if you take a look at this, right now Cardano is about 6.5 cents. If you would have invested in Cardano 3 months ago at near its bottom, when Cardano was around 3 cents, and you would have then sold today, you could have over doubled your money. Well, how about that? If that in any way applies to you even a little bit, I'd consider taking profits, because really, Cardano isn't going to gain adoption anytime soon, let's be honest. But I was doing a little bit of research, and these are the 4 reasons I could come up with for as to why Cardano is pumping. Number 1, the IOHK summit is in 24 days, and there is an expectation of a quote-unquote major announcement for the 2019 updated roadmap. So that could be a reason. Another reason could be the Ledger support coming out at the end of this month in March. We've already seen the pictures of the Ledger Nano S's with the Cardano logo. Their 1.51 launched last week, which was the last step of their Byron phase. Now they're heading towards their Shelley phase / decentralization / proof of stake phase. So they're slowly making it happen. And maybe the final reason could be that the Yori wallet was released last month, made by Amerigo, which is making Cardano easy to securely store without having to download the entire blockchain using the dataless wallet. So those 4 reasons could be why Cardano is pumping. If you know at all why any of these other coins are pumping, let us know. Even Bitcoin Cash is doing pretty well. All right, so finally, I want to talk about the future of Bitcoin. I mean, we know Bitcoin gets updated from time to time, but this is kind of a slow process. And, Bitcoin doesn't have a roadmap, doesn't have a CEO or a company behind it calling the shots. So how do we really know what's going on in the future? I mean, after all, Bitcoin is 100% open sourced. Anybody can develop on it. Now, because of all these reasons, this is the huge reason why I think that Bitcoin is one of the only ones that has a chance of actually competing with our current monetary system. But also because of all these factors, it can be hard to know exactly what's in store for Bitcoin technology-wise. So let's figure that out. Let's read this article. And I'm just going to give you the broad strokes here. If you want, you can come back to this article and read it in detail for yourself. And keep in mind, just like I said, changing Bitcoin, it's intended to be a slow process. It's good that it's hard to change and update Bitcoin. That means, number 1, it's decentralized, but number 2, you don't want money to be able to change easily. People need to trust that their money will not easily change. So let's get into it. Upcoming Bitcoin updates focus on privacy, the size of the blockchain, and seamless integration with a Lightning Network. Checking out Bitcoin's next steps means parsing through wordy and technical BIPs, Bitcoin Improvement Proposals. Even then, it's hard to see which ones will go through because it depends on community approval. So we've done the work for you and spoken to several Bitcoin Core developers to find out what's next for Bitcoin. Here's the lowdown on all the juicy proposals which have not yet been implemented. So it's not clear when, or even if they will make it into Bitcoin. Our guide, then it's not definitive, but for now, here are the main features we see coming soon to the Bitcoin blockchain. So this is the overview. These are the 4 things that they're suggesting Bitcoin will be improving upon in the future. Number 1, Bitcoin will become more private. Very important. Number 2, we'll have better support for the Lightning Network. Number 3, light clients will make it usable on your phone. And number 4, the Bitcoin blockchain will stay relatively small. So the one I want to focus on is privacy, because that's one of the ones that's most important to me. I think if I had to suggest maybe the 2 biggest challenges of Bitcoin adoption in the short to medium term, it's privacy and it's also just user interface, user friendliness. So let's see what they have to say about privacy. One problem with Bitcoin is that it can be easy for people and companies to track transactions. This is because all transactions are made on a public ledger that anyone can see. Now, one thing they did to try and help this in the past was introducing multisig. Another solution, and they present a lot of different solutions in this article, one solution is Schnorr signatures. These allow someone to broadcast multiple inputs for a transaction, but sign all of the inputs with just one signature. It obscures who really made the payment and where the money moved from, and a good explainer can be found here. So what I know about Schnorr is Schnorr is going to solve a few different things. One, it's going to solve the privacy, obviously. More than that, they're going to solve or help with scalability, i.e. the amount of space that transactions take up in the block gets optimized with Schnorr signatures. And then number 3, I've heard that it's going to be a quantum resistance solution. So I really like Schnorr. I think it does have a good chance of getting soft forked in. A separate approach to making Bitcoin more private is a proposal called Dandelion. This makes it harder to track the location of a person who makes a Bitcoin transaction. It increases anonymity because when somebody makes a transaction, it gets sent to other random nodes before it is broadcast. Dandelion or Schnorr are 2 possible solutions, and the fact that they say that privacy is a concern for them does ring true to me. I think that is something that can be fixed and is being worked on. Besides that, this article talks about the Lightning Network. They talk about new apps which will run Bitcoin on your phone. And then finally, keeping the blockchain small. So that's really the 4 different things that the core developers are working on at this point. Of course, it's open source. It's hard to change. We'll see what comes in the future. That's it for me, my friends. Happy Sunday. This is Aaron at Altcoin Daily. See these runners outside my window for the LA Marathon. Besides that, maybe I'll leave an article, or I'll leave a link to this in the description too. I'm not going to go over it, but they're modeling Bitcoin's value with scarcity with a stock to flow chart and different examples. So this was really good. If you're wondering, does Bitcoin have value? Does Bitcoin actually have scarcity? I'd check this out here. As a thought experiment, imagine that there was a base metal as scarce as gold, but with the following properties: boring gray in color, not a good conductor of electricity, not particularly strong, not useful for any particular or ornamental purpose, and one special magical property: it can be transported over communication channels. Well, surely this digital scarcity has value, but how much? In this article, I quantify scarcity using stock to flow and use stock to flow to model Bitcoin's value. So this was a very good read, highly recommended. Check it out. All right, feel free to follow us on Twitter at altcoindailyio. Sometimes we tweet some good stuff. And that's it, my friends. I'll see you tomorrow.